It's See Something, Say Something. Candace and Cindy are two therapists aiming to demystify therapy and pull the curtain on the people who are conducting your session.
Surprise, surprise. Therapists are people too. Listening as we giggle, chat about culture, navigating life experiences, discussing the things we like, and mental health.
Welcome to another episode of Budding Topics today, guys.
Hey!
I feel like we've been inspired lately. Like this past week has just kind of had lots of inspiration. Mm-hmm. For me, lots of rage because, I stay ready. But, there are moments.
But they say be mad with a purpose.
And I'm totally mad with a purpose right now. Be mad,
but for a reason.
Yeah. It's giving anywho.
Yeah, we've been in good spaces that have poured into us or just kind of redirected us or just inspired us, just fruitful spaces with good people that have visions and missions and, we can collaborate with or connect with. It just, we've been blessed.
Feeling supported with. And I
definitely feeling supported.
Yeah, I think
hope is not lost.
It was a reminder that hey, no, there are places there for you guys and people who want to see y'all win and people who want to help support the causes.
I'm fighting with you.
Right. So
on the front line.
To kind of start, earlier this week, Candace has already been attending a few sessions with the Dallas Racial Truth and Healing Transformation.
Yeah, the cohort.
So it's in Dallas. It's a huge nonprofit that kind of focuses on racial justice, social justice, and racial healing, community building, education, all of those different things.
Yeah.
And so I love them. I appreciate them, but I never got a chance to go.
And it should be mandatory. I've been asking.
Yeah, it should be. But it's also open to people in the community. I think, just from, the places that we work, they did not, they had her go. And for me, I have to be at work at that time or around that time. So I never felt like I could go. But this week I was like,
I'm going.
I'm advocating for myself. I'm not missing another one of these.
I appreciate it.
Yeah.
It's you better stand on business.
Girl, I was all 10 toes because I'd been following this group for a long time. And I don't know, I guess in my season of shifts and things like that and wanting to be in spaces that affirm me, I noticed they only had 2 more of these conversations left. I was I have to be at the next 2. I just have to be. And so we both got to go this week and it was a lot of fun. Yeah, a lot of fun for us to get to come together and be with like-minded people like Kendra said. And it was just affirming. And
I didn't want to leave.
I know, and I didn't leave. I stayed. Kendra said I gotta go, and I'm staying. And I still didn't even stay as long as I wanted to because I felt the pressure of work, having to leave and having to
Yeah, and then all our sessions low-key got pushed back, so we could have stayed.
Right, we could have actually stayed and been in the spaces that pour into you. And this is where I feel like the intuition needs to come in play. If you feel called to a place to stay, to a place that's safe, stay there, lean in, and don't shift yourself out so fast because of capitalism.
No, that's right.
Because that's what it really is. Running to the money on. We're okay, we have to do this, this, and that. And I'm low key, I think we need to slow down.
We have to, but what do we need?
Right. What do we need? What does your soul actually need right now? What are the spaces that you're craving?
We don't have to do anything.
What's making you feel activated right now? Because I felt supercharged in that room with all those people. And so guys, there are people that were educators, therapists, filmmakers, herbalists, pastors. There are people from all different walks of life kind of coming together to talk about mental health, social justice, advocacy, racial healing, language, narrative change, really being able to push a lot of the culture forward in a positive way that could reduce the harms of racism. And so I was really, as a person who's done a lot of racial justice work, fist up, with my support group in the past and also currently, right? I don't know. I haven't had a space where I could feel like I could talk about these things with people who get it and aren't being so defensive in a really, really, really long time. It's been months, actually, at this point. I mean, other than my own support group that I created and the friends that I've picked up along the way, I haven't had a place that felt like this since Tribe. And so it was really nice for me to be in a space like that. to where like we could talk about these things and not feel like someone's like trying to be combative to tell you that your experiences as a Black person or person of color,
asking you to shift your perspective or like trying to adjust your experience
as a Black person or person of color,
as a Black person, which is so invalidating and distasteful.
But it happens so often, especially when you are
every day,
like work
especially
in general.
As clinicians too, though, because they're like, is that a bias? Is that a limitation? It's like, this is
like the internalized experience I feel because I'm a Black person, like experiencing this and you're not listening. Yeah. So like, I don't know. We feel it so often. And so I feel like for us to be able to like get to be in a space of community, it was just really nice. And then there's been like so much stuff. It was comforting, but there's been so much stuff around, like always stuff around race. But like lately in the media and things that we also see, and we don't necessarily always get places to talk about them. So
don't you hate that?
Which part?
That we don't get spaces to talk about that because
for
me, like that's been a very strange adjustment for me too, because I feel like at my last job, like that was just like how we talk. It was just like day to day because I was just in a space of people who got it and people of color. So that was just like our day to day mission. Like it was just common knowledge. It was nothing that had to be explained. You were validated, you were heard, you were seen, and we were all on the same page with like basically the same, objective. And then just like shifting to a space where it's like, you kind of feel like you have to censor yourself because it just becomes like a lecture and drawn out, and then it becomes exhausting. Yes. So it was so comforting, and I was just like, it made me miss things. But
sure, and like spaces, and also we get a chance to create new things.
Yeah,
and like be in spaces that like still affirm us in another way. And I wonder even for y'all that are like in corporate or I wonder for y'all that are in like corporate spaces or in like, I don't know, because we're in like a mental health focused space, but like education, like serving, let's go into hospitality. Like I'm just curious, like, do y'all also experience that? And if so, what does that look like? I like to hear about different people's perspectives, when they are so kind of like in the work that they are, because I know for my cousin, she works in like healthcare, but she does like more of like the analyst stuff and like insurance, and she talks about how that space is so saturated with white people, and that she's one of the few Black analysts in the healthcare field for like where she's at.
Sure.
And so like her job right now personally is trying to bring more people into the field as it is lucrative, but then also remind them that you're going to still experience microaggressions and racism in the workplace as well, just like any other place. But it looks different. Right?
Of course.
And people have even more of a lack of education. So I don't know. I'm just interested to like lack of conversation, lack of attunement. But I am curious because I just feel like racial healing should be a conversation we have like more often. And so from the talk, they did discuss that racial healing is really the process that's composed of 3 parts. Number 1 is active listening, okay? So, like, you have to be in a place where you're present and actively trying to listen to the other person who has an opinion. Either way, right? You want to be able to practice that because I feel like active listening can also help reduce, like, harm because you're actually showing that you care. You're trying to be compassionate. You're trying to be empathetic. So, active listening. And then number 2 is becoming open to one another's perspectives and experiences. And yeah, if you're closed off, you don't want to hear it, you think that they're just kind of running off the mouth, like that's invalidating as hell. You have to be able to listen when someone's actually telling you about what they've experienced and how they've been feeling about said experience in order to really understand. If you can't do that, I mean, to me, that's like the bare minimum. You put a blockage,
Yeah.
And then number 3 is allowing yourself to be impacted and or be transformed by the experience. Some people don't want to feel it, honey. That's their damn problem. They don't want to feel it. They want to block it off. They don't want to take accountability.
Right. And I think that's the guilt.
That is the guilt. It's white guilt. Sorry. Fragility. But like it is a part of the experience.
But there are some Black people who don't agree with racial healing. Like people, maybe whitewashed.
Not even like ignorant. Only Black people or only white people, but like people across cultures and different things like that.
I'm just emphasizing that it happens to black people.
Because, sorry, I said white girl. I love
everybody, but I'm just saying, like, a lot of people think black people be like this.
Let me stop talking. Take it out, Kirsten.
No.
Or myself.
You're not racist.
No, I don't think I'm racist, but I do.
You don't have the power to be racist. That's just tea.
And I feel like at the same time, that's true. And I feel like at the same time, like, I feel anger though sometimes because it is like specific demographics, I think, that like push the narrative. But you're right. Sometimes black people don't want to talk about it. There's also a divide across cultures. Like,
and being a bystander and silent is just as bad.
And just being comfortable with that.
Continuing on the history.
Yeah.
But definitely, child, people of color.
Not allowing yourself to
people of color.
Feel it. People of color. There's a lot
of other minorities.
Yeah, there's a lot. So like racial healing and also racial transparency, transformation, all of those things matter. And I think like just being in a place where you can talk about all of this and like be open, find those spaces within your community or create them. For us, like we were able to go this week and like be put in a place that was affirming.
And we're going to the other one.
And we're going to the next one. And they gave us some cool prompts, like describe the moment when you first felt affirmed as a human being, share a memory of one of the first moments you realized people are different.
I love that.
Share a personal story about a time where you overcame challenges, things like that. How did it influence you, change your life? So it wasn't just necessarily like recognizing just race, but also recognizing like humanity.
Yeah.
And so I appreciated that.
So there was people from all different walks of life there.
Which was necessary because we were all human beings. We are all working together for a bigger cause. We were all inhabiting the same earth. So I do think it's important to have people from different backgrounds to be in these spaces so that we're all sharing perspectives. We're all learning. It's important. So being open to whatever happens from there. But I appreciated it. I liked being in that space this week.
What's coming up for me is like this really just tied into what we were talking about of like racial healing, but like also religious healing, because you need to have active listening and being open to like hearing other people's perspectives and experiences and not being so quick to respond or have a rebuttal to it. And then, like, allowing yourself to be moved, you know? Like, that's the same. Like, these should be in every space. Like, it's not just racial. It's religious. It's every space that we should be at least having that as a minimum. Because, like, that's what allows and encourages conversations and room for change and shift. Instead of just being so closed off and stuck in our ways. So, that, like, I was like, wow, that aligns
perfectly.
So that's why I kind of like zoned out. I was like, that aligns.
Yeah, you were thinking about it.
I was. It was really on my spirit. I said, wow, this is really going hard today.
I know, right? Like we're in perfect alignment. But yeah, I think I don't know. That's why I'm so big on community and finding places that like feel good. And you can also be candid and open about how you feel. I think we all need that in our own way. I know some people find that through their church groups. Some people find that through their friendships. So yeah, continue to challenge yourself to cultivate that and figure out where you can actually be your most authentic self and be able to learn something.
We kind of talked about that yesterday in my little training workshop. Like how there's people who are more tribal and then there's people who are more selfish, and how the world was made for people to be selfish. Like, because relationships are transactional, like the person who is selfish, he made like a little chart. I wish I could like share the picture. And so it's like, regardless, and this is all relationships, it's not just like romantic, like whoever's the selfless one, whoever's the selfish one is always going to win by however much like you are on the chart. So let's say like the selfish person is here and the selfless person is here. They're always going to win by that much. So like the world was made like by nature. It was kind of like nature versus nurture. Like by nature, like we're born to kind of like take care of ourselves. Like that's what happens in the wild. That's what happens with animals. And if an animal was to kill somebody else to eat, or kill like another animal to eat, like we'd be like, okay, that's normal. Like that's the circle of life. But like when we do it, it's like, no, that's bad. So like how it's just like natural for people to be selfish, but they had to like put guilt in place for people to be like, oh no, I need to shift. But it's like, who's the person who's going to feel the guilt? The selfless person, not the selfish person.
Always
so, like, the selfless person is always the one who's going to lose. And so I think that's why so many people are okay with being closed-minded and focused on what they believe and just like being stuck in their ways, because it's like, it's working for me.
And it's worked this long.
Yeah.
Why
so
shift?
That tied into, everything. Ooh, girl.
I know. We're having a juicy podcast
the Lord
today.
is working.
It's juicy.
I can't. Everything ties in.
Everything does. But I feel like, we're here. Interesting, Candace. I like that take. I really do.
So and
it kind of reminds me more of, me kind of in the space where I've been giving to everybody. And so, like, trying to... Because
clock me.
She's been ate up multiple times. So I don't know really, like, what it's going to look like to be... I guess I know what it looks like to become more selfish.
Selfish is a crazy word. He had a chart of different words that were synonymous.
I like the word self first. That's actually what I tell my clients most of the time.
More positive.
Yeah, it feels like less like I don't give a fuck about you and more like I care about you, but I'm also putting myself first in this situation because that's what we have to do in this life in order to
train your language, guys.
Yeah, it's all about reframing. And so to me, that's a perfect reframe. So, something else I've been thinking about, which kind of when it goes into like racism.
Whew, girl, let's talk about
the Olympics. Oh, like baby, what is happening? Okay, so
I haven't been watching, to be very honest.
I've just been tapping in here and there. There's been some really interesting things. Like, I don't know if you saw on TikTok, but like the B-boys and the B-girls, like the B.
Oh my gosh, I saw it this morning and I instantly flipped my thumb up. I said, "What is this? This is not Olympics."
Baby, they're in there.
They could have had us in there. Is that new?
I think so. I don't know who
so we're just adding to the Olympics?
There's a lot of stuff in the Olympics. I was watching them play like
I've never heard anybody talk about it.
Yeah, I don't know.
I know the table tennis.
There's a lot of stuff in the Olympics, but yeah, I feel like that's a new one.
That.
Yeah.
I said what? I said
someone was like, "Is that Billie Eilish?" It's like you didn't have to say that.
The games we play, please be more serious, guys. Please.
Oh, I think it's hilarious. But you know what I do love? I love like Simone Biles getting her flowers this time around and being able to really like. Well, I don't know if this is true tea, but they said that she was going to retire, and they also said she was pregnant. I don't know. These are two things that I heard.
What?
I mean, she is married. I have no idea.
I know, but
I'm gonna just leave that here. So whenever we get,
I didn't hear that. But also, I'd be watching goat videos, so I think we have two different timelines.
Yeah, sometimes they intersect, and sometimes they don't. They do. I think for me, I just be in there like getting all the tea.
Yeah,
and so I saw that, and I was like, oh, I hope so. I hope like she's in that space because it's. From where she was, I don't know if that was last year or the year before, but she had to take a break for her mental health. She was getting a lot of like negative comments, obviously probably all of the pressure, right, from being like a world-renowned gymnast and having to kind of like have these maybe like pressures on yourself and standards. Not only that, the stress that like comes with all of that, and then even the beauty standards that she wasn't.
I know
people felt like she wasn't
hard on her hair,
which I'm like. Can we have something?
No, I don't know if her makeup. I think it was her hair.
Her makeup is eating right now, eating down.
Serena, that they go in on her makeup.
Yeah, which she has a whole beauty line now. And she looks good. And people are like, she's been listening to the feedback on TikTok.
She has, I remember. They got her together when they saw her with Sierra, and the next day, her skin tone was matching.
Period.
I said, she's taking the feedback.
She's taking the feedback, and she says, I've actually been used to criticism my whole life, and I'm about to eat it up.
Okay.
And have a beauty brand to prove it. Yeah.
I'm still rich and wealthy.
And then dropped a whole makeup line just so you girls can really have
just to laugh in your face. And I bet you guys are still going to take a little peek.
And purchase a little wig. Tea. So, I don't know. I'm here for the amplification of Black women's success, but I hate them getting
it's not equal,
kind of torn down in the process. I am happy that she's taken like mental health seriously for herself though. Like she mentioned how she's like going to therapy weekly, how even like they showed an image of her practicing meditation literally at the like before she went on to win most recently. So I thought that was pretty cool.
Connected.
Yeah, saying she's just being an open advocate for it, and I think like mental health in sports is really important, and we just need to talk about that more because there's a lot of pressure put on people for years. Imagine what that does to your body.
Nothing but perfectionism is expected.
So interesting.
But I think that's also good to like note that a lot of people probably just see her as successful. Like, what would she need to go to therapy for? But it's like, therapy is so much deeper than like, I'm just at low points. Like, it's continuous. It's lifelong, really. Like, there's people who've been in therapy for decades.
Imagine how many adjustments you go through as well. Like,
so many seasons.
Literally. Like, think about like the preparation it takes to know that like, hey, I'm about to leave my family, my friends, I'm going to the Olympics. I've been training for, I don't know, years. Like, and I have to go up there, show myself, be perfect. I have one shot on television. If a hair's out of place, I'm going to get ridiculed. Like everything.
I could win gold, but if my hair was a little puffy.
If my edges were puffy because I've been sweating my ass off.
It's about my looks now, not my talent,
it's about my skill. Or it's about my husband, and less about what I can actually. give.
Always taking the spotlight. Like, that's so sad. To always have to be in the shadow of something,
no matter how hard you work. Oh my gosh,
it's never enough.
It's never enough for some.
And it's unfortunate.
It is unfortunate, but I do love when they're able to get, and everyone is able to get like their spotlight, you know, recognizing it's your winning season. So like we didn't make history, but Black women made history. Okay. Yeah. There were 3 Black women on the podium most recently, and that happened early August. And so that was a first for gymnastics. So it was Rebecca Andrade, Simone Biles, yes, and Jordan Childs. But the crazy thing is, girl, not they took Jordan Childs, they took her bronze medal yesterday.
Why?
So they said that apparently she did everything right, but they had changed her, I guess, her score.
They can do that?
They changed her score like, I think 1 second after the scores were supposed to be sent in. And so they changed her score, which made her win 3rd place. But then did she win 3rd or did she win 2nd place?
Girl, but I feel like no takebacks. Like,
it's very weird to me because like this was her first bronze medal, right? And so it came after an appeal over her score. So then it happened in a dramatic shift. Oh my gosh. Yes. So then she ended up, so the score was changed. And so then it got her going from 5th place to 3rd place. And so then most recently, like yesterday, they decided to be like, actually, we're going to send in an inquiry and we're going to take it back. And they gave her bronze medal to a Russian gymnast. I just feel like something about that's weird to me.
Y'all went through all that.
Right. She came all the way, did all of that. Perfect. And then you still take it away. And to me, it's getting racism.
Yeah, but, there's definitely some racial undertones.
What's going on?
Because I need to understand why.
Yeah, what was happening back there in the room for over a couple of days that y'all decided, like, let's strip you.
Yeah, what was the conversation?
You need to send it back. Like,
I need the mics to be on. What was the conversation?
I don't know.
What was the reason?
Like,
that's just you being stingy.
Like, they just made history. They were so excited.
Yeah, and they couldn't stand it.
Right.
So, bubbling up,
just to like, let's just strip this away real quick, you know? And mind you, she is, so what happened was Simone Biles actually brought Jordan Childs to her gymnastics studio that's in Texas to train. And so that is kind of what helped amplify her to get to the Olympics. She already had the skill sets, but I think she might have been like denied a few times wherever she was before, but they knew that she had like the power, you know, to do it. So it was another Black woman helping another Black woman get into the space that she needed to be in.
I love that.
And that's more of the stories that I want to hear. And so I hate that happened to her, but I don't think that's going to be the last from her in this space. It won't be the
last we hear from her.
I know, right?
Always throwing
some shit.
An obstacle, baby.
I know. It's so frustrating. But again, Black people, people of color, Black people, I love you. And I'm so happy to see, you know, us making more history.
So, speaking of racism, first I want to talk about how Serena was denied service. I know. Even though she's like popular. Her kids too. So it's never enough. That's really all I had to say about that. I really want to get into Brooke Schofield.
Tell me more.
So, okay, I don't know all the tea, but I know enough, okay, to speak on it.
Yeah.
So she's co-host with Tana Mongeau? Sorry. And they literally host a podcast called Canceled.
Oh, okay.
So old tweets came to the surface.
Not some racist tweets, I already know.
Yeah. And so she made an apology video. Lots of them.
I think I know who you're talking about.
Yeah, she used to date Clinton Kane.
I don't know who that is, but I do know the story. Tana
the one that was the worst one was like she talked about Zimmerman shooting Trayvon. And so she made an apology video, but then she said, well, I grew up in a certain space and I was 18, like basically like trying to justify her behavior and giving us her backstory. And it was just like, no, it should just been an apology, period. And so then all the people who were like forgiving her were people who were white. And so it's like the apology was not for us, it was for white people. Yeah. And so then this morning, girl, here's TTT. Tana so this morning I saw a clip on TikTok that Tana, they were filming their episode and she said, I'm on the couch by myself because Brooke is not on the couch with me. And like basically slams her and goes in on her for making racist tweets, but Tana made racist tweets. She already had her moment. So it kind of was like the pot calling the kettle black.
I think they should just give it up.
Somebody put in the comments, they said this couch should be empty.
Yeah, neither one of you guys should have a platform anymore. I'm so sorry to say.
But it was like somebody was like, you're racist. And so Brooke was like, no, I'm not. I just grew around racist people. And da 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 da. So it's like, how do we determine which is which?
What did you also do to educate yourself or help yourself get out of the racist environment or help yourself like learn to unlearn some of the racist things that you grew up around?
I don't think she ever unlearned.
So then that's the problem.
I really don't. I think she just got thrown into a space where she realized there's more diversity and she just became more quiet. Well, actually, no, because now more clips of like her talking crazy with other white people on podcasts. And I just was like, that is so crazy. Like, you guys know you have tweets out. And that was also another thing. It's like, you have tweets. Why didn't you just like delete them or speak on them? And she's like, I didn't want to bring it to light. But it's like, now somebody else brought it to light. So now it looks crazy.
You might as well.
They were crazy. Like, they were crazy. And she was like 18, 21.
And I understand that. I feel like, no. I'm not going to say I understand. But I do see how some things when you were 18 and 21, before you even had any education, nothing was going on up there. I'm not saying it was right, but I can see how it happened. No. I can't really see how it happened because what's going on? But
she said she was raised by her grandparents who were very racist, and her parents were addicts, and so
so like that,
she had a very limited scope on things, and she just did stuff because she did stuff. You know,
that was her
inherited beliefs,
right? And that is what reflected there. But I do think it's important, like, where was the unlearning when you kind of recognize, like, all you're saying now is great, right?
And now you're trying to hide and you got clocked.
The inherited beliefs, the upbringing, all of that is fine and dandy. I really wish that you would have used your platform to talk more about that and bring maybe some of the things that you used to do where you recognize, like, this was wrong. Like, what did you do to unlearn it? What did you do to fix it? What did you do to reconcile? What did you do to educate yourself? If it was none of the above, then I don't really give a fuck, to be honest with you. Like, to me, it's like, you didn't do the work.
Space.
You're saving face. Yeah, like saving face, trying to make yourself look good, and
everybody was saying, like, you're talking about you were 18 when you made the tweet about Trayvon, but he was 17 when he got killed. So what's really the difference?
She probably wasn't. I don't know how old Tana is, but there's no way.
This was Brooke.
Okay, I don't give a fuck, to be honest, about either one of them.
They're like 26, 27, 28.
So I was like, let's stop pretending.
They're not babies.
Yeah.
And the girl even said, she was like, honestly, I didn't have any awareness till I moved to LA and was around other people. But even then, like,
when you say
would you call it awareness, or you're just like seeing that there's other people around? Like, I don't think that's an awareness of like that there's a difference and a different experience and that you were wrong. I think you just realized,
wrong and racist and loud.
There's black people and they have feelings.
Because what are we talking about? Like, I don't want to see the tweet because I'll probably get pissed. But like,
there was other ones too, and she went off on probably every minority except for white women.
So you're racist. Like, it's okay for you to be there, but know that you've lost hella followers, hella fans. She
did, baby.
Like,
but I don't like her friend being like. Some people were like, no, I think this is an area of growth for Tana. But I don't like her being like, it was effed up. And I can't imagine people who are followers and not followers that are black seeing this. So she's not on this couch. I said, I feel like you're milking it.
It's kind of
weird.
And it feels
genuine and you're wagging your finger, but What happened when you did it?
I feel like this name, like, I don't know her, but I don't really remember there being a bunch of positives associated with her either. So, like,
and you named your podcast Canceled. And now look.
It was actually a manifestation.
Y'all both been canceled.
It was actually
the power of the tongue.
For y'all. So here we are today. And there we go.
Racism, it's everywhere.
It's everywhere. And what are you doing to heal yourself? You might want to look within, babe.
It's tiring.
So I think to kind of like close out a little bit, what is going to be kind of like your way of practicing your own little bit of like racial healing or just in general healing kind of coming up? Like what's kind of in your forefront? Like what are you wanting to tap into? Fall's coming around. Seasons are shifting literally. So yeah, what are going to be some of the things that you do? And it can be anything that kind of is going to bring you closer to yourself / do some of your own maybe internalized work that you may need. I know like for me, burnout, like racial burnout and emotional burnout and compassion fatigue has been on my brain a lot lately. I think like being in spaces like what we went to this past week at the Racial Truth and Healing Transformation with Dallas, I felt like that was important for me. So being more open, I think, to going to spaces like that or being more active in it, I think is important.
I agree.
Yeah.
Fostering those relationships and nurturing those relationships and spaces that allow you to have those conversations are like progressive and wanting to see change. For me, like I'm reflecting, honestly, speaking up more at work. I feel like I've spoken up, but to be honest, like if I had to put myself in a category, I could consider myself being the palatable Black person, which is a conversation.
It is.
And so that honestly is coming from a place of making the person feel comfort, like the other person feeling comfort and not necessarily me.
Hell no.
And so just like being authentically myself, because I am pretty black, and I don't think a lot of people know that.
They should.
And in my other job, I was very, like, that's what people said. So it's just, like, the shift at this
and just,
job.
like, low-key, like, in life in general, right? Like, being able to, like, be exactly who you say you are and who you know you are.
Yeah, not feeling like you have to put on, like, a certain level. It's kind of like how you, like, when you order food and they have, like, a spicy level. And I feel like I have to be mild in certain spaces. And I think that's just trained from, like, being grown up around white people. But yeah, I'm pretty black. And
embracing that and like knowing that and like reminding yourself of that like, every day.
Every way, not some ways, and in every space, not some spaces.
Right. Being fully yourself.
Being authentic. So yeah, just pushing that because that is something that I really believe in and value, and it's a need. And if we're going to be the change makers, we'll be the change makers, you know?
Yeah, and not being afraid to be a disruptor at times either.
Yeah, because like, is it really disruption? Because it feels like our worlds are disrupted all the time.
Yeah, that's why I'm not afraid to disrupt somebody else's.
That's literally been our existence.
I think if we're talking a little bit of work, like, yeah, I'm not afraid to, like, shake some shit up, and it's going to probably be annoying, and you're probably going to be like, shut the fuck up, Cindy. But, like, I'm honestly not afraid.
Baby, reflect.
Yeah, you're going to need a moment to kind of get it together.
Like, you can get mad, but take a note.
Yeah, like,
and revisit it.
Yeah.
And then be like, you know what? There was some truth in this. Let's make that more of a priority.
Yeah. Like, and
that's every space.
Don't mind in every space kind of like speaking up in some ways. But I do feel like I've kind of like gotten exhausted because I have been a person who would speak up more often, who would speak up for others.
I have too.
And I think, and even
at this point,
sometimes it's hard when you feel like you're kind of like continuing an uphill battle.
A wall.
Yeah. And so I actually talked a lot about that this past week where like that's kind of how I've been feeling lately. Like I literally have a support group that has done this work for the last 4 years and we never received any funding. That's hurtful. You know what I mean? When it comes to like the sustainability of community organizations and places that value people, which I think even therapy, you know, at times can feel like that because like you put so much value into being able to support one another and support people. But Texas is like one of the bottom states to give us any type of funding for mental health. Like it's hurtful, you know? So I think all of that, even like working in social justice, it's hurtful, like literally hearing the stories and feeling helpless at times. So I think I've just kind of had a lot of fatigue So I think the small wins practice is going to be a big part of that for me to remind myself of like, I can't change everything. I'm not dismantling an entire system, but in my own little way, I'm making a difference. And those differences do add up and do really help, society at large. Yeah. And then I do think I still need to continue to practice like the creativity and like things for myself, like things that feel separate, but still help me to explore and express myself because I don't want to suppress that. And if those are the things that make me feel good, that help me to practice self-care, then I know I need to lean more into that. So I think that's where I'm at.
I love that. I'm going to keep doing what I'm doing. It's coming time for another cupping session and
I was looking for
drainage.
I have like 61 credits on ClassPass right now.
Use it!
Yeah, because my cycle restarts on the 15th, and I'm trying to book a massage. Yeah, but there's just no time. That's my problem. Like,
girl,
I mean no time before Thursday. I mean, I'm literally at work.
You better after work.
Closes at 6. Isn't that a fucking bummer? And then I have like a client. So I'm kind of like sad.
Today?
I was looking for today. I think I saw one place that had availability at 7:30, but I don't really remember. I think I saved it. So I don't know. I'm gonna look.
Prioritize. Life changing.
But yeah, trying to prioritize myself, and Candace will be doing the same.
Baby, that's all I know.
Okay.
Eat, sleep, live, baby.
All right. Budding topics
over and out. Toodles.
Bye, y'all.
Bye.
Let us know what you learned in the comments. Thanks. We need that engagement, baby.
Yes, please. Engage. Share.
And we have more content coming soon, okay?
Yeah. Bye.